Hi folks, welcome back to the channel, and today things are getting competitive. I'm teaming up with Jam's mini mods for a head-to-head Kitbash challenge you won't want to miss. The mission? Build your own unique take on a Deathwatch Watchmaster, but with a twist. Each of us has to draw from the shadowy legacy of the Dark Angels, so accept hoods, secrets, and maybe a little bit of heresy. You never know. It's creativity versus creativity, Bitsbox versus Bitsbox. Will my Watchmaster lead the Deathwatch with grim determination, or will Jams be the true master of the long vigil? You decide. Let the Kitbash clash begin. For my version of the Watchmaster, I wanted to go with a base model of the Deathwing Knight Terminators. But instead of using the Knightmaster variant, I went with the standard Deathwing Knight variant. And because I'm a sadist to myself, instead of going for the standard shin guard on this particular variant, I went with one that had a knee pad built into it from another Deathwing Knight instead, and I'll explain why later. In the meantime, however, I cut out the torso and the back piece, tidied them up and stuck them together, before sticking both shin guards to each leg. To make the model more Deathwatchy, I used the Deathwatch upgrade sprue and removed this small Inquisition symbol from it. I tidied it up and then compared it against where I wanted to place it on the model, which is on the chest piece. And in order to ensure that the Inquisition symbol sat nicely on the chest, I stuck it on there with some blue tack and then with my hobby knife made small incisions on either side to determine how much plastic I needed to remove. And then with some small controlled cuts, I gently removed the plastic in between those two incisions. For those of you who are new to the channel, I have a massive list of kit bashes and conversion ideas that folks in the community have suggested. You can find a link to it in the description below. If you notice that there isn't something on there that you'd like to see, then let me know and I'll add it to the list. I always compare the piece that I'm going to be sticking down against the area where I've made the cuts. This is to ensure that you're not taking too much away, because you can always take more off, but you can never put the plastic back. Just keep comparing those bits every so often. And now onto that knee pad I told you about earlier. I really wanted to do some freehand. Now, I'm not amazing at freehand, as in some sort of elaborate design, but I can paint some basic geometric shapes. In particular, I wanted to go for the watch company Tertius. So with my hobby knife and sanding sticks, I slowly and painstakingly removed the crux terminatus from the knee pad. Yep, that's what I did, just to paint a line on the knee pad. Now that the main torso and the legs were complete, I moved on to the arms and the weaponry. I got hold of some custodes as I really wanted to use one of the guardian spears from there, the one that was holding the spear in one hand rather than the two-handed approach. And to fasten this to the specific Terminator arm I wanted to use, I begun the process of removing this power maul from the chosen arm, using my little blue tack technique, all the while comparing the guardian spear against the arm that I was using. And once I'd made those comparisons, I removed the rest of the haft from the Terminator arm and tidied up any rough plastics that were left behind. And with the guardian spear itself, I cut where the handle met the bolt gun casing and where the rest of the spear met the hand. I went for the guardian spears from the Custodes kit because I really liked how ornate they were. After making some comparisons, I realised I needed to remove some more plastic from the spear itself so it sit flushly against the hand, as well as from the arm itself. Once I was happy with how they were sitting, I then glued the two pieces together. Now when doing this sort of stuff, I always recommend pinning. I don't do it because I'm lazy, but don't be lazy like me. pin these pieces if you can. If you've been enjoying this video, why not chuck me a like and maybe subscribe? It's absolutely free to do and it really helps me a lot. If it's not your thing, that's totally cool too. Feel free to share it amongst your friends as someone else may enjoy it. Seeing as I had the Custodes kit out, I really wanted to use this cloak, but I didn't like all the fancy filigree on it, and obviously it didn't really fit with the theme. But first I needed to ensure that it fit on the model. Now again, this is one of those things that fit very nicely. However, I did need to make a few adjustments, i.e. remove this small nub at the back and trim away some of the connection points on the side, but overall it fit pretty much perfectly. And then come the arduous task of slowly removing this raised detail from the cloak. With a combination of my hobby knife and sanding sticks and a lot of time, I slowly and delicately removed small sections of plastic at a time. I've started using a little technique with my polystyrene glue. If you're removing some plastic and they're leaving some rough edges, you've done your best sanding them down. Just apply a small dab of glue, let it melt away and dry. Once it is dry, then go back in with your hobby knife or sanding sticks just to remove any excess. It just makes it a bit easier. You're not having to put as much pressure or remove as much plastic at a time. The glue does the work by melting it down. I really like the clavis idea for the left hand, so I picked up a Deathwatch Watchmaster kit. Now, you might be wondering, well, why didn't you use the Guardian Spear from that one? It was too late. I'd already used the Custodes one, and plus, like I said, I like the ornateness of the Custodes one, so yeah, here we are. So I ended up getting this kit just for the left arm. Now, again, you don't have to do anything like that if you don't want to do your own, but I like the look of it. So that's what I did. In order for this to work, I started to saw away the forearm from a Terminator arm. I really wanted to keep the piping that was connected to the arm. However, it didn't quite turn out, so eventually I do remove it. As normal, I tidied up any contact points and ensured that I compared the piece I wanted to add to it against the piece that I'd already cut up, just to see if it was working. I then carefully, well, not really by the look of this, removed one part of the forearm from the shoulder pad. I wanted to keep the elbow guard attached, as I really like that, and it would hide some of the stuff underneath the arm that I'd already cut up. So using my clippers, I just clipped it away, and my hobby knife, I just cleaned up any rough edges. And then using my hobby saw, once again, I removed the second part of the forearm from the rest of the torso. Once I'd glued the two pieces of the arm together, I then compared it against the Terminator arm and realised that the small little elbow joint that was already on there was getting in the way. So using my hobby clippers, I just gently removed that away. And because I've got the elbow guard still there, that hid it away nicely. And as you can see here, where I realised that that cabling wasn't working, so I clipped it away and tidied up all the rough edges. Once I was happy with how everything looked, I then glued the two pieces together. I also want to do a quick shout out to all the folks supporting me over on Patreon. I really appreciate support. If you folks fancy supporting me that way, then feel free to head over. A link is in the description below. Lastly, I wanted my Iron Halo to be, I don't know, ostentatious, I guess, really elaborate. So I used the skull, the servo skull kind of sensor that the companion has, cut that off, trimmed it up and stuck it to the top of the Terminator's torso. After it dried, I realised that it had been glued on at a slight angle. You might be able to see it, you might not, but I know it's there, so it bugs me. The whole purpose of this Kitbash clash is to collaborate. Jam approached me some time ago and suggested this idea. We put it towards the community and this was the model they voted on. So it's a community driven thing, and because it's a community driven thing, we would love to get involved with more YouTube content creators who enjoy the kitbashing side of things. So if you can think of anyone, let us know in the comments below. And then to finish, I then based the model, painted him up, which left me with this. And here he is, my interpretation of a Dark Angels Deathwatch Watchmaster. I had an absolute blast doing this collaboration with Jam, and whilst it's still in the same wheelhouse as what I do, it is slightly different. And whilst this is a bit of friendly competition, as I mentioned before, it is all about collaboration, so be sure to go down below, click on Jam's link, watch his video, and tell him how better mine is. Obviously, jokingly. No, tell him, really. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And be sure to do all those algorithm busting things, like, comment, share, all that sort of stuff. It's totally free to do and it really, really does work. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you in the next one.